Trying to remember a simple way of being, a simple way of being in my mind, in my mind. Trying to recover a simple way of living, a simple way of living in this time.
I would be walking out there and I would be singing it. Don't forget what you knew before you withdrew from dwelling in heaven's domain. Recall your affinity with dazzling divinity, and in that presence remember with gratitude, life is beatitude, even its sorrows and pain. For we're all in God's grace, every time, every place, and forever she will reign.
Ron Ratner, a retired lawyer who lives in San Francisco, California, has been on a path of spiritual awakening since his divorce in the late 70s. He's traveled from litigation to meditation, from born-again Hindu to an uncertain undo. And acting on a suggestion made to him by his guru almost 20 years ago, he's begun to write his spiritual memoirs and post them on his website, sillysutras.com, where they can be found along with the sutras or sayings that he's written or collected through this period of mystical reflection.
In this crazy age of mental malaise, we're lost in a mental maze, caught in a labyrinth of thought. Without a doubt, to find our way out, we must know the way we got in. I got married at age 27, and my wife was a very brilliant person, Naomi. She had been a celebrity. She had been, from the time she was a small child, before television. She was on this Quiz Kids program, and then they put it on television, and she was one of the two longest lasting quiz kids. So she was a very intellectually brilliant person. When I met her, I was very attracted to her intellectually, on an intellectual level. When we were married, I don't think we were relating very well. I mean, she had very materialistic goals, and I didn't have materialistic goals at all, and I never thought that way. A year and 3 months before we split up, we went to a New Year's Eve party, and for some reason, I was feeling extremely joyous that evening. And it was at the home of a doctor, two doctor friends of ours. A husband and wife were both MDs. And then they served dinner, and I ate dinner, and then unknown to me, somebody had put a lot of marijuana in the cake that they had for dessert. Now, at that time, I was very uptight, and I would not, under any circumstances, have knowingly partaken of marijuana. I was afraid to do anything that wasn't legal. And but soon after I had dinner, I felt like I'd never felt before, and I asked the hostess if I could please lie down. And she took me to a little dark bedroom, and I just fell on the bed face down, and the strange feeling I had was that it was like my brain was anesthetized, and I couldn't think. It was like if you go to the dentist and they put anesthesia into your gum, you can't feel it anymore. Well, my brain was gone, but the next thing I knew, it was this totally dark room, and I was on the ceiling of the room, looking down at my body, which was face down on a pillow below me. And that's when I had this experience of, with every thought, I saw a kaleidoscopic colored shaped image. And that would appear between the ceiling and the bed. So there I was, the experience I was having. I was at the ceiling, my body was face down on the pillow, and my thoughts were floating above my body. I was so frightened that I didn't talk to anybody about this for a year and a half. And I tried to figure out what was going on, what was happening. And I suddenly had this little aha moment, which related back to that experience on New Year's Eve, that previous New Year's Eve. And it was, you're not what you think you are. You're not your soap opera. You're not your story. You're not a concept. You thought you've gone through life as a concept. You've gone through life as a secular Jewish attorney who got married and had a couple of kids, but you're not that. In other words, you're not your idea of what you are. You're not your body, and you're not your thoughts. You're beyond that. That was the beginning, and from then on, I had so many miraculous experiences that it really blew my mind. I mean, and it's in the process. It's still blowing my mind because I can't explain it. Who can explain it? Who can tell you why? Fools give you reasons. Wise ones never try. You can't explain it.
In search for answers, Ron read a book about the Kundalini process and thought it might explain some of his weird experiences. While attending meetings led by the author of that book, Ron learned of an extraordinary Hindu guru who was to lead some meditations.
I hadn't formally started meditating then, but at night I used to close my eyes and I'd see inner movies.
Yeah.
And this guy was appearing in my inner movies, and I saw the picture, and it said that he was going to be giving meditation programs at the San Francisco Theological School in Berkeley, and I thought, well, I'm curious. And I went to see him, and it turned out that this is who it was. He didn't say much. He didn't speak English then. Mainly, he would just chant. He was sort of like a Hindu cantor. It would be very similar to what an Orthodox Jewish cantor would be doing, except he was chanting in a different language, in Sanskrit. Just listening to these sounds was transformative. It was spiritually very uplifting for us just to hear him recite these mantras. His name was Sri Dhyan Yogi, but we called him Guruji or Dhyan Yogi. And so I felt kind of funny the first night, and he was giving similar programs for the week, so I came back the next night. One more night I went, and when I came back, I came into my room and I felt really, really strange. Suddenly, I just burst into tears, and I couldn't stop crying. And as I was crying, suddenly there manifested in my inner vision a tiny blue, luminescent blue circle. Gradually, that blue circle got bigger and bigger and bigger, and widened and widened. And suddenly, appearing in the middle of the blue circle was this little man. Only this time, it wasn't a vague image at all. I mean, it was like watching a movie. It was like going to the movies and seeing this guy in Technicolor. And there he was. And I thought, wow, I don't know, what he's doing, but he's definitely got some tricks.
2 years after his spiritual rebirth experience, Ron received a spiritual initiation from Sri Jaan Yogi, or Guruji. Ron was given the name Rasik, meaning one engrossed in devotion, and also given meditation instructions and a sacred mantra.
So I got pretty deeply into his Hindu prayers. He gave me Hindu prayers, and I felt that I had transitioned from being a secular Hebrew to being a born-again Hindu. And this went on for a number of years. Well, and I got to a point where I suddenly became disillusioned with many of these spiritual teachers. And I realized that all these teachers, every one of them, is limited because they're in a human body, and it's not possible to be in a human body without having limitation. Believe it or not, this applies even to spiritual teachers. They're all fallible. And I remember writing down a little rhyme about that called the law of flaw. All people are flawed. None are perfect. But the most flawed are those who think or claim they're perfect. Something opened up for me, and I thought, okay, from now on, I'm going to be my own guru. But in order to do this, I have to kind of discard all of the dogmas that have been inculcated to me, even by the Hindus and the Buddhists and all the rest of them, and I have to sort of try to review and just keep the ideas that seem right to me. Walking for me is kind of a spiritual practice now. I have no expectations when I start a walk, and I don't usually have much on my mind. There may be at a subconscious level some issues that I'm working out, but just as if when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, sometimes you wake up with the answers to questions that have been processed. I don't think about things, and the answers sometimes come to me in thoughts, or they sometimes come to me in experiences. After I retired from going down to the financial district daily, and after I stopped jogging, I continued walking every day, and I would recite either Ram, 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 or different versions of Ram mantras. Om Ram, Ramaya Namaha, Om Ram, Ramaya Namaha. That became so automatic that after a while I didn't even have to think about it. It would just, be running through my subliminal awareness always. In more recent years, I have adopted one other mantra that is really the one I repeat mostly now, and that one is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. And I say this silently, usually, not aloud, but what it means, translated pretty accurately, means may everyone everywhere be happy. At this stage of my life, I would say that's my my deepest aspiration from my heart. And I pray it all the time. Early in my life, I used to honor the great thinkers of the world, and then after I had this awakening, I began to honor the great non-thinkers of the world, because to me, you have to quiet the mind in order to allow the voice of your heart to communicate with you. So I think I once wrote down my meditation instructions. Let's see if I can remember them. I'm not sure I can. I think it was close your eyes, open your heart, and listen. I had never thought of meditating or never considered it until after I met Dhyan Yogi, my Hindu guru. And his principal advice, his basic teaching, there were two. One was follow your heart, even if it contradicts my words. And the other was meditate regularly. And really meditate regularly should come first, because the more you meditate, the more you're able to follow your heart. Inner infinity spawns outer reality. The more we connect with that inner light within us, the more we impact our outer reality, the way we see our outer reality as harmonious and beautiful and perfect. Because as Einstein reminds us, the universe is just an illusion and time and space are just ideas.
Weaving its way with endless threads, the universe is a web. At the intersections is where we're at, each of us a luminescent being. We're not alone, it all relates. Reflections of light from all the other beings. For those who have eyes to see, synchronicity, synchronicity.
Well, Ron is quite a unique character, and synchronicity is one of Ron's themes. And I believe that there is a lot to that. I think that at our core, each of us are part of the same oneness, and so there's a connectedness that we all have. And this connectedness, I think, manifests itself, and we all have our own karma and destiny and discoveries to make and so forth. And I think the inner self, the higher self, is leading us to that point, and I think things don't always happen by accident, and I've experienced that.
It's nature's way, outside of time, within a connection and harmony. For those who have eyes to see, synchronicity.
Perhaps the most extraordinary synchronicity that ever happened to me was when I was trying to remember this wonderful 1982 trip to India that I took, which was a trip of a lifetime for me. And I was trying to remember it because I had the intention of writing my spiritual memoirs. And I was telling friends that my memoirs are getting shorter all the time because I can't remember them. And within a very short time after I told my friends that, I was taking a walk and my usual route, and ahead of me on the sidewalk at a distance I saw a white plastic bag. There was a dumpster right over to the left of the bag, and I thought, well, I won't be a litter bug, I'll take it and put it in the dumpster. And lo and behold, I got to the dumpster and I looked in, and there were about 15, 20 VCR tapes, and I thought, isn't that interesting? And I looked at them, and lo and behold, they were all spiritual. And well, this stuff interested me. So instead of throwing away the plastic bag, I gathered up the videotapes, put them in the bag, and took them home. And miracle of miracles, one of those tapes was a tape that was taken during my 1982 trip to India,
which I had never before seen and didn't even know existed.
Ask me how these things happen. I have theories, but again, to me, the important thing to remember is that there's an unseen hand. You know, somebody said it's God's way of remaining anonymous.
It's now and now and now and now, no coincidence, just manifestations of our thoughts and our intentions and our higher vibrations. For those who have eyes to see, synchronicity.
I discovered the word synchronicity only fairly recently. I never used to use it until after my spiritual awakening. And that is a word that describes these coincidences that are noteworthy, but it doesn't tell why they happen. I just don't know, but they remind me that there is an unseen power in the universe which is working to harmonize everything, and it seems that my experience has been that the less I get in the way, when I let go, I have more and more of these experiences that the universe is somehow organizing my life for me.
For those who have eyes to see, synchronicity, 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 synchronicity. Reality.
was thinking of the same idea of, metamorphosis and breaking open the karmic cocoon. And while I was taking my walks, this idea manifested in a song, and it goes something like this: we're just butterflies, we're just butterflies, we're just butterflies in a caterpillar world. After many moons in our cocoons, totally transformed we've been, from chrysalis to crystalline, then leaving cares and apprehensions, we've flown to joyous new dimensions.
But the world keeps creeping and crawling, so we're just flying and calling. Come be butterflies, come be butterflies, come be butterflies in a caterpillar world.
What I realized was that each of us, like the butterfly, has created our own cocoon. The caterpillar creates a cocoon by itself, and then it emerges from that cocoon. We create our own cocoons with our thoughts, words, and deeds. Now that, on a subtle level, is hard to understand, but you might call it a karmic cocoon. And we can break through and beyond that karmic cocoon the same way that we created it, by transforming our thoughts, words, and deeds into positive ways.
Come and claim your prize, to be very wise. Come be butterflies in a caterpillar world.
Free spirit really, I don't think the free spirit was around for the first many years of my life. But I think it really was after he and my mom split up that he started to sort of crack open. And I remember walking down Telegraph Avenue with my dad. I think Josh was there too. And my dad was, he was not walking. He was like on the beach and singing operatically. I was an adolescent or a pre-adolescent, and I think I thought it was funny, but I was also embarrassed in a way that, what I appreciate and love so much about him, I think, I generally do tell people he's really eccentric, and that he is, I tell them, I say he's a former lawyer with a very, successful long career as a lawyer, but he is now a real free-spirited, happy man.
What is real? Think about that. My theory is that reality is whatever we think it to be. And that this world of ours is sort of a consensual reality which we've thought into being or dreamed into being. That's my working hypothesis now. But if you think about God always, then you'll see God in everything. One of my sutras that I wrote some years ago was a question and answer exchange on that subject. Question: is it possible to see God? Answer: everyone sees God everywhere, but few know it. The idea of God is an idea that has a lot of different meanings to different people. And some people use the idea of God to separate themselves from other people, like, my God is better than your God. You know that whole scene. And my sense is that there is a power from which everything in nature emanates. And everything in nature is perfectly arranged. And so when I talk to the lone ranger, I'm talking of the power from which nature emanates. And that is the lone power from which nature emanates. And when nature is left in its harmonious, natural state, it's perfect. We're all acting roles in a masquerade ball. And we're all wearing metaphoric masks. And I would say that the Lone Ranger's mask was a symbol of a metaphoric mask that we all wear, which hides our true identity, which is light and love. One of my heroes, Albert Einstein, once said, there are two ways to be in this world. Either everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. And Einstein, who was one of the most brilliant human beings, in recorded history, went through life with a sense of wonder and awe at the mystery of it all and how little we know. And with the grace of the Lone Ranger, I've gotten to a place like that. Everything to me is a miracle, more and more.
Ron Ratner's spiritual path has led him to the creation of the Silly Sutras website. Here, he shares his writings along with the wisdom gleaned from the likes of Mahatma Gandhi, Albert Einstein, Rumi, St. Francis of Assisi, and many more.
Silly Sutras website is a collection of spiritual tidbits, some by Ron, some by others, some famous, some unknown, all of which in some way stop your mind and turn you back into yourself to discover something about reality.
It's a questioning, it's a philosophical kind of pursuit, it's an unraveling. And I think through his own writings, I think that's what he's attempting to do, is sort of reconcile, here's me, here I am, this is what's going on, and this is, what some of our great thinkers and teachers have said and thought and done.
If you're interested in spirituality and something beyond your own belief system, the way he probes these things and he keeps it live and active, you never know what's coming next. It's brilliant work, I think.
And what I have found, the simplest way of elevating one's own spirits and those of others is just smiling. In recent years, I've apparently unknowingly gotten a lot happier than ever before. And apparently, when I take these long walks, I often unknowingly have a shit-eating grin on my face. Because what happens is I'm walking along and people start smiling at me. And I realize that they're just smiling back. But it's a wonderful instant way of communicating love.
I think he's a free spirit who is surfing the moment this way. Like, and at the party today, you can see it. Like, you know, the birthday song. You start playing a birthday song, and he comes up and starts dancing along, and the butterfly song, and he's singing along, and the toast, and he's crying and living in the moment. That attitude of gratitude that he brings, I think, is really clear in his appreciation of the people around him and of every little thing.
To be wishless. Because as long as we're wishing, we'll never be wanting. But since I'm not quite yet to the top of the wish list with the Buddhas, I will share a wish that I share many times every day in Sanskrit. May everyone everywhere be happy.
That's beautiful. Yeah. But the world keeps creeping and crawling, so we're just flying and calling. Come be butterflies, come be butterflies, come be butterflies in a caterpillar world. While we are living, while we are breathing, while we are messing around, while we've been waiting, while we were debating how everything is going down. The Lone Ranger rolls the ball. The Lone Ranger makes the call. The Lone Ranger arranged it all.
Beloved, we are instruments of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Despair, hope. Darkness, light. Discord, harmony. Sadness, joy. Divine Mother, Father, grant that we may seek not so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying to ego life that we are reborn to eternal life.